So why this choice? Well, the Picasso, besides being the choice vehicle for A-list celebrities such as Uncle Bryn from Gavin and Stacey and Ronnie Pickering, this Citroen Picasso was a favourite the whole way over Europe, and you can tell why. It just does everything really well. The Scenic? Well, another of Europe's favourites, and you've got that sexy French style, which in this top of the range privilege trim with the optional 17-inch alloy wheels just looks fantastic. But the Scenic also has a tale of woe to tell. Its reliability was so bad it actually made it onto BBC Watchdog. It quickly drew families in with its wonderful combination of comfort and practicality, and broke their hearts with failing keycards, blank dashboards and Duff electric windows. So it's no coincidence that the Scenic and the Picasso are red, representing French style. But why did I bring a Verso along? Well, number one, I didn't want to include the most natural rival, the Zafira, because I hate them. And number two, it's beige, which represents Japanese sensibility and unquestionable reliability. It's time for a bit of beige. It's the Toyota Corolla Verso. The one that you barely see anymore, the one that you barely ever saw to begin with because it was only sold in the UK for just 2 years. So this particular car is a 2002 1.8 VVTi T Spirit model. Got front and rear electric windows, automatic climate control, CD player. I've got controls on the steering wheel here for the stereo. Yeah, it's pretty well equipped. These sunroofs, this front one pops up. You press this little latch on the side and pop it up and pop it down. Back one is an electric slide job. That's nice for the kids in the back. They get an electric sunroof while mummy and daddy have a pop-up poverty job. On paper, this car had everything it needed to be a sales success. It was based on the Corolla, like Renault based the Scenic on the Megane, Citroen based the Picasso on the Xsara, only it had a lot more space, a lot more storage, flexible seating. So what happened? Well, it was late to the party. This car didn't come along in the UK until 2001. The Scenic, the Zafira, the Picasso, they were all very well established at that point. It also lacks the one thing that really sold the likes of the Scenic or the Picasso, and that's 3 individual rear seats. 3 full-size seats that you could fit car seats in, an adult in the middle, 3 car seats side by side. This doesn't have that. Instead, it's got this rather clumsy setup. Now these are folded with a pull cord. Flipped up with a pull tab. And you can remove them. But this is all one piece. You can flip this down and use it as a cup holder and a tray between the front seats, but when it comes to removing it, it's still attached to that one, and it weighs a bloody ton. But there are some surprisingly good little touches. This partial shelf, for example, which has these bits to attach to the headrest to completely cover the load bay. If you flip the seats forward, Toyota give you a little box here to tidy the seatbelt away into so it's not flapping around. And it's the only car here with integrated booster seats. Well done, Toyota. Storage is good. Again, you've got armrests. You've got this storage compartment here filling the whole center console, which in the Picasso is just a big empty space. Little trays here either side. I love this. You've got a cup holder on the dash for the driver and the passenger. You've also got that. Okay size glove box and picture of a child. huge underfloor cubbies, and a curry hook. Boot size is probably the smallest one here, but not by a huge amount. When someone buys a 15-year-old French people carrier, you know you're in for a bit of floppiness, and half of the electrical items aren't going to work, and ownership can be a bit patchy. But with one of these, you kind of know what you're getting. You're still getting a solid Japanese car that, providing it's been well maintained and is driving well at the time, is likely to outlive the other two all day long. But when you get into this after the other two, with their French flair and their ingenious features, you look at this dashboard and it just feels like you've gone back a decade. Everything's very sensible. Nice white backlit dash. Very, very familiar to Corolla owners at the time. All very Japanese, very sensible. Now, I know the colour doesn't help it, but there's no doubt that when this Verso is parked up against the other two, it looks positively prehistoric. That low window line, the kind of awkward shape that doesn't really know what it is. It's as if it was trying to invent the crossover, but didn't really manage it. And when you compare it to these two, Scenic definitely wins the style point here. With these fantastic optional 17-inch alloy wheels, a good colour. I think this car still looks really fresh today. The lines have aged really well. The Picasso does a great job of still looking really elegant in this spec. The shape I've always thought has looked a bit dumpy, but it's definitely aged a lot better than that Verso has. This is the 1.8 VVTi petrol engine, which was in pretty much everything Toyota made at the time. The Avensis, the Celica. It's a fantastic engine. It's got a lovely gearbox. It's not the horrible sloppy gearbox that you get in a Scenic or a Picasso. And it's a real lively performer, which is quite fun in a car like this. Time for a bit of keycard action. Just doing what Scenics do best. See? It's already got character. This should give you some idea as to the Scenic's reputation. Yep, it's broken. This is without a doubt the most pleasant place to sit out of the three of them. Swaves of beige, all that tech. It's really light and airy. The Scenic also came with a dash that made the Picasso look really dated all of a sudden. Much better graphics on the digital display, neat climate controls, and this neat sliding center console unit, which could take up this whole space because the Scenic has an electric parking brake. Integrates cup holders, armrests. and a huge storage bin with a 12-volt socket. In terms of tech, the Scenic II was miles ahead of the other two. I've got this key card, which on this model is totally keyless start, so you just get in and click the start button. This huge electric panoramic glass roof with auto closure, an auto dimming rear view mirror, rear parking sensors and a tyre pressure monitor. The drive is also the perfect compromise between the other two. This 1.9 DCI is lively, the gear shift is, well, it's not as precise as the Toyota, but it's not as sloppy as the Picasso. The ride is compromised a bit with this car. It's got the bigger 17-inch alloy wheels and it can be a bit crashy over uneven surfaces, but it's not as rolly as the Picasso, and if you're going to do a long road trip, this is without a doubt the one you'd pick out of the three. The Scenic is definitely the most family friendly here. You've got storage everywhere, picnic tables, integrated sun blinds, 3 individual and removable seats with Isofix, and these can be moved back and forward for less legroom, more boot space, or vice versa. And the only one with a 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating, which, when you were putting your precious little mongrels in the back, was a big selling point for them. You've also got drawers under the front seats, cubbies in the floor, good sized door bins, and another little cubby there. Great size boot. And the Scenic is the only car here with this. An opening tailgate screen. The Scenic is also the only one here with an incredibly annoying seatbelt buzzer. It's got 4 electric windows, none of which work. Not a single one. In fact, legend has it, if you're lucky enough to find a Renault Scenic with 4 electric windows working, you're going to be blessed with good health and wealth forevermore. I'm not sure I'm gonna get home. SOS. Having a scenic moment. Handbrake's not working. Guess I'll just have to park it the way Scenic owners are used to parking. On the road, the Picasso is a typical Citroen. It's got that lovely, soft, squishy, long distance cruiser kind of feel. The suspension's soft, it soaks up the bumps. On the other side of it, you do get a really sloppy, notchy gear change. The gear change is on the dash, which is nice. It kind of falls to hand when you're using this armrest, but it's not a driver's gearbox. It likes to wallow. If you were doing a twisty Irish road trip in this thing, you'd quite quickly feel a bit seasick. This one has the later 1.6 16-valve petrol engine, which came along with the facelift for the Picasso in 2005. It's a nice smooth performer, plenty of power, perfectly adequate for the car. And the trip computer says this car is returning 33 miles per gallon. The seats are really soft and comfortable. And you've got these armrests on the exclusive model. Now, I have seen that the foam tends to collapse in the base of these, so just watch for that if you're buying one. Visibility is unparalleled the whole way around the car. You've got these huge quarter light windows, a low window line. You've got the same quarter lights repeated in the back. It's flawless. The cabin on this exclusive model is beautiful. You've got this light beige fabric interior with a sand coloured dashboard. Excellent equipment too. Automatic climate control, CD player, front and rear electric windows. But there are certain aspects of the Xsara Picasso which are now starting to look really old. You've got these little door handles off of Peugeot 206, the same flimsy glove box, and then that digital dash which just looks prehistoric now. And it doesn't even have a rev counter. Citroen couldn't find the tidiest of places to put the rain and light sensors, so you're constantly looking at that at the bottom of the windscreen. 3 full-size rear seats which can be folded, removed, tilted, slid the same way as the Scenic. Picnic tables, underfloor storage, and it's the only car here with a rather posh rear sunblind. The Picasso is the only car here without a sunroof, but it was available with an optional electric panoramic roof. Storage up front, well, you got this big cubby hole here. Drawer under the driver's seat. You've got these oddman things here, both sides of the dash. And you've got a bottle holder here, but no actual cup holder. There's a load of wasted space down here where the Scenic integrated the sliding console, and Citroen really could have been more inventive with that. Boot size is humongous, flat, and check this out. Boot full of shopping, kids rubbish, whatever. Citroen have got you covered. Look at this. Citroen branding on it and everything. One clip each side. Got it out. Look at that! It's bloody brilliant! Even just for that, the Picasso wins the practicality vote. So you can't have the Verso because it's just a little too drab. Yes, it's sensible and all of that, but it's just too dull. You can't have the Scenic because, well, it'll spend most of its time being broken. So in this test, there's one clear winner. The perfect compromise of both of these cars, still a firm favourite in Europe and still demonstrating exactly how a compact MPV should be done.